podcast is intended for mature audiences. The views and opinions expressed are those of the panelists and do not reflect in any way those of the podcast partners, sponsors, or affiliates. Enjoy.
Hi, this is Michael Buffer, and you're listening to the voice of the people. Let's get ready for Boxing Voice.
You know the saying, stay hungry, stay humble.
BoxingVoice.com.
I'm humble in defeat, and I'm going to remain humble in victory. This is it, right?
DAZN Productions.
I just wanted to put on a great boxing masterclass
BoxingVoice.com.
and also show the sweet science of this lovely sport. Man, the first time was so nice, I had to do it twice.
I'm prepared to the best of my capability, and I pray that I get the win. Look at it, I love Mike Tyson, how he came into the game on some different kind of vibe. You know what I mean, man? It takes a crazy man to want to fight, you know what I mean, day in, day out. It's a hardcore sport, as you said, no silk shoes.
Ain't no other sight in the game to see the boxing boys.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome back. Double doses, double morning show. It's still 11:30, almost 11:20-ish a.m. over here on the East Coast. We're going to be rocking out with Michael Hunter. I'm actually communicating with him right now. That's why I was a little bit behind schedule, because I wanted to make sure that he's on, and I want to get him on video. He thought we were going to do Zoom. I don't know what 220. I don't know what, should have just added 2 to the 220, make that 420. Boom, let me light up. That's what happened. Hold up. All right. Now, so I don't know why 2020 has brought in this wave of Zoom, but Zoom ain't dope. It's horrible audio, and the video quality looks like crapola. Just saying. Prefer Skype. They are the pioneers of video chatting, so I think they got it down. Don't get me wrong, we've been having our issues with Skype as well. But yeah, so Hunter's figuring it out. He's going to download the mobile Skype app, which is free if you want to download it as well, so that you can call into the show and have crystal clear audio quality. So he's doing that, and I asked him to plug in some headphones, turn that puppy sideways so we can have landscape, and come on and talk some boxing, because we definitely want to get his take on being cut by Matchroom and Eddie Hearn, even though it was Frank Whyte that gave him the news. You know, but that's a question in itself. And speaking of questions, if you haven't already asked Michael Hunter a question on our Patreon posts, patreon.com/The Boxing Voice, then go ahead and do so. I'm going to put that link in the chat. If you haven't, you can still get your opportunity to ask good old Michael Hunter a question. And yeah, man, have it answered right here live on the show and directed straight at you. So yeah, we definitely want to ask him how it felt to not even, sit down with Eddie and find out that you're not going to get, I don't know, your contract renewed, and instead you have to hear it from Frank Smith. I mean, I don't think it's a real big letdown. That's like Oscar not talking to you and Eric maybe talking to you, Gomez. But hey, it is what it is. I mean, these things happen. But we also got to talk about his recent comments. I mean, he's been doing a lot of press, obviously, since being released. And, he said, I'd stop Dillian Whyte. And I beat Tyson Fury bad. And he's, I watched the interviews. So he's recalling a time where he and Tyson went at it in the amateurs, So he feels like he beat Tyson in the amateurs, but didn't get the decision. They were scheduled to have 2 fights, and then Tyson didn't show up. So, yeah. Dwayne Carter, I don't know why it's not showing up on YouTube. I mean, I scheduled it a long time ago. I guess maybe because I started late. It was scheduled for 11:15. But, yeah, I mean, we definitely scheduled it hours ago, so people should have gotten their notifications. We are live now. I mean, you want to help with that, you could hit that thumbs up button and even share the show is really the way to get it out there in front of more eyes, because we're going to be having Michael Hunter on in a few minutes. Hopefully. I haven't heard anything back on my text, but he's scheduled for 4, so we'll see. And for those that are just listening, because this is an audio podcast, first and foremost, it started off audio, then we turned it audio video years ago. But that being said, there's plenty of people that consume it only on iHeart, TuneIn, Stitcher, and iTunes. Lucky for you, you're not here to see these 12 thumbs down that were already here at the start of the show, and I have no clue why. I'm assuming it's because Eddie Hearn is in here in the title, and Matchroom has something to do with it, and the protectors of Matchroom Boxing are, I don't know, campaigning already. They're out early because I don't understand what's wrong with Michael Hunter wanting to debrief us on being cut from Matchroom, and what's wrong with him saying that he'd stop Dillian Whyte and that he could beat Tyson Fury. I wouldn't understand why someone would want to thumbs that opinion down. Maybe you don't agree with it. I get it. But look, it is what it is. But he had this to say in a previous interview, which we'll get our own, details. But he said, this is very rare that this happens to a heavyweight when you're ranked this high and you're out there, said Hunter, about being released from Matchroom Boxing. And Mike will be on the show hopefully in another 3 minutes now. But it's kind of the same thing that I said when we got the news that he was a free agent. It's like, wow, who lets a heavyweight go that is ranked across all the sanctioning bodies? Michael Hunter is ranked, I think, in every sanctioning body, even the ring, he's number 8. WBO, number 7. IBF, number 4. WBC, number 10. And WBA, number 8. So I guess you can call him like a universal 8 rank fighter. I guess the best ranking he has is in the IBF, where he's ranked number 4. And then he has a secondary ranking where he's ranked number 7, right? And then 2 8s, right? 2 8s. Let me see. WBO. Oh, another 7 in the WBO. Oh, okay. So, I mean, it could be argued that universally he's at least a number 7 in the world, because he's ranked in the ring at 7, the WBO at 7, the IBF at 4, the BC at 10, which is his biggest drop, but the WBA at 8. So, again, it's just a hot commodity. It's like, why get rid of this guy or let him go? Why not say, look, here's a 1-fight deal with the option like you did Mikey. Don't put him in the long term. But to put that piece back on the board is crazy to me. With this ranking, if we keep it in chess, if you think that Hunter is a pawn in this heavyweight chess game, believe me, he is a pawn on the brink of turning into a queen. Obviously, no homo there, right? But, people go into chess thinking that pawns are expendable when those are like the most important pieces, because a properly raised pawn becomes anything you want it to be. Do you need another queen? Or do you want a rook? Or do you want a bishop? It's up to you. Do you want a castle? So is what I'm saying. And why I'm giving that example is because he's crossed the Mason-Dixie line. He's at number 4. And Pulev is number 1, who's the mandatory, which means Usyk is number 3, who's really number 1 mandatory in the WBO. So is Hunter going to have to fight Usyk or Pulev to get the mandatory spot in his next or second to next fight? Absolutely not. He might end up fighting Charles Martin. And if he gets picked up by the right promoter, who knows if they can finagle the IBF with enough dinners and lovely emails to say Michael Hunter versus Tom Schwartz, the number 8, for the eliminator, for the mandatory. So again, very valuable piece on this board. Very valuable piece on this board. And, yeah, strange to me. Strange to me why you let this man go. Let me hit him up again. I thought we would be ready by now. But yeah, I mean, hot commodity in my opinion. Hot commodity, man. When you look at, again, the WBO, you know, so you got Usyk already in that mandatory position. Who's up next? Dubois and Joseph Parker is number 2. Dubois is number 3. But we all know Dubois is already fighting somebody. He's already fighting somebody. He's taking himself out because he's already going to be raised probably in the WBC because he got some sort of like WBC something going on. You know what I mean? So, again, Pulev is number 4, but he's already busy in the IBF. When he loses to AJ, he's going to get dropped. You know? So, a guy like Hunter is starting to look like a commodity to PBC because now that's 2 PBC fights they can do, right? In the WBO, you could probably get an eliminator with Andy Ruiz Jr. and Michael Hunter, 2 guys that know each other, 2 guys that's worked out. Maybe they say yeah, maybe they say no. In the IBF, you get another eliminator possibly with Charles Martin and Hunter. In the WBC, he's the furthest off, so we don't need to talk. There's tons of people and tons of things that need to take place there before Hunter becomes any real hot commodity in that particular sanctioning body. Obviously, there's the fiasco with Dillian Whyte. Then you got Deontay Wilder being the number 1. Oscar Rivas has creeped himself into the number 3. Ortiz still at 4. Ruiz at 5. And even Alexander Usyk at, damn, he didn't do Skype. He said to call him. I like the video, but okay, my friend. Let me make sure my trusty, I shouldn't even call it trusty, right? We all know Blog Talk is like shaky shake. That's why I like people to do Skype, man. Let me see here. See what we got. I got no co-hosts, as you've noticed, right? It's Ness once again, Solo Dolo, Scarface, no Manolo. And it looks like Blog Talk is all goody. Let me go ahead and hit him up. Bang. All right. All right, so we're adding him here, and Mike. Oh, so whatever email you used would be what you need to send me so that I could find you. But I could try this number if you think you set it up with this number. Perfect. I thought you wanted me to call you on the number because you couldn't figure it out. So we're kind of live, but it's all good. All good. What's going on, man? How are you? Yeah, nah, I don't see any account associated with this, but let me see. All right, here's this link, and that should bring you right into me if you follow that from your phone. All right, let's try that. If not, we'll do it live on the phone. It's all good. All right, so there you go. This is when we need a producer, you know what I'm saying? One day we'll get to that level and we'll have someone in the back end. They'll be like, yo, all right, Nestor, we have Michael on the line. And it's like, perfect. Michael Hunter, what's up? You know, so it'll work out like that one day. Till then, you know, the grind don't stop. The grind don't stop. But people, there we go. He just sent me a hello. Let's get him on the line then. Got it. Perfect. Let's do it. Oh. Hey. What up? Let's do it. Mr. Hunter, you there?
Yep.
All right, you just got to turn that camera on and we're all good and ready.
Hold up. So, man.
Boom. Oh, he's showing that he's in shape, gentlemen. Ladies and gents, he's in shape. And I was just telling the audience that, man. I'm like, how do you let go such a hot commodity? You know, I use the metaphor of chess in comparison to you. Like, you know, even if people think you're just a pawn on this heavyweight chessboard, you're a pawn past the Mason-Dixie line on the brink of turning into whatever you want. Be that a queen, be that another rook or a castle, you're there because you're so highly ranked in so many sanctioning bodies. Now, we looked at it and you're the highest ranked in the IBF, which really means, I think, like if you get with Al, it seems like there's a title eliminator that could happen with Charles Martin because obviously Kurbet Pulev's already the mandatory, has to fight AJ. Alexander Usyk's already the mandatory in the WBO, won't risk it with you, which only leaves the number 4 Michael Hunter, number 5 Andy Ruiz, number 2 Charles Martin. Now, depending on the sanctioning body and obviously the favor of what they think is a bigger fight, they'll put you in one of those. And it just looks like you're in a great position not only in the IBF, but even in the WBO. I think you could be called as the mandatory as soon as Usyk gets his shot because you're so highly ranked in the WBO as well. Because there's a lot of guys busy, like a Daniel Dubois, busy with Joyce, Kurbet Pulev, busy with AJ, and Andy Ruiz, busy with a comeback. So that bumps you up. But I don't know, man. Tell us about being a free agent, and then I don't. It seems to me like you have a lot of doors that are gonna open. How do you feel?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's definitely been a lot of different little opportunities that's came my way, from unorthodox to orthodox. So it's really cool to be in this position. Being ranked so high and kind of a free agent and being able to, have the kind of be able to pick who I want. So I'm just right now I'm just taking it slow and trying to figure out, making sure that, like you said, I turn into a queen.
So, are you advising yourself? Who's going to play the advisory role? Because it seems like the right manager could put you in the right position. Like, you could end up with a multi-fight deal with Top Rank, or you can end up in an eliminator with PBC. It looks like you could really pretty much go anywhere. Again, I'm scratching my head as to why Eddie would release such a valuable piece to the heavyweight division. Can you make sense of that? Why do you think you were released?
I think, like I've said this before, I think it's really common sense if you really think about it. I just think I was getting too high in the rankings and being in their company. You know what I'm saying? Anthony Joshua was their guy, and I would be basically infiltrating their whole plan and their situation. They know, they kind of got a little boo-boo when they lost with Andy Ruiz the first time. So I think, and then the whole COVID stuff happened. I just think they were, they're like I was explaining, they're like the adolescents when it comes to the, to the big companies right now. And I just think that, I was just, I'm an American. I'm not English. I just think, it was just going to be a hard time for them to keep me in the company and still thrive like they're trying to do.
So the internet wants us to believe that Michael Hunter was cut because he was Andy Ruiz's sparring partner, and he made a prediction that Andy would beat AJ. So they're like, oh, we got to get rid of Hunter. This is the internet, right? Like the conspiracy theorists, the forums. What do you make of that? Did you really pick Andy? And do you think that in some weird universe, they could be upset at you for not going with the house fighter?
Nah. Actually, I did kind of pick Andy. Not to say that I was picking him to win, but I just knew that it was not going to be. I didn't think it was going to be that easy. Kind of, people are kind of also kind of having that misconception that he was out of shape. I was in his training camp. He was better shape than he was for the first fight. He got just as much time. I think where they went wrong, there was obviously things I can't speak on them when he's going away from the gym. But I feel like that he just got out of shape a month prior, because that's when we had to go to Saudi Arabia. We went out there for a month, and I don't think it was any bad blood. I talked to Anthony after the fight. In the back, we took pictures. He him and Hassim kind of hit it off in the back prior, and they had their little thing. He had said Hassim rocking the slogan after the fight, and he came back and kind of gave him some credit for it. So it was like a nice thing. It was actually we didn't really speak to each other prior, but after it was more of a respect thing, that we just came out of the ring, and we put our lives on the line and risked it, and it was like after the fight, it's all respect.
So, Mike, you didn't let us know who's advising you or managing you.
Well, I even before this, I have an advisory board. I don't really necessarily have nobody has a percentage. I own 100% of myself. Um, I've just created an advisory board, that I kind of talk to and bounce ideas and get advice, and then we all come to some type of agreement of what would be my next move. You know what I'm saying? Um, so right now, I guess you could say I'm self managed.
Wow. Bro, that's actually an amazing place to be, being such a hot commodity. You don't have to split any percentages, but I don't know. I feel like a Keith Conley. Obviously, you've already dealt with Al and you know what he can do, but maybe a Keith Conley can put you in the right position. He's the manager of Daniel Jacobs, got him that 15 to 12 mil for Canelo. He's
Yeah, I like
also
Keith. That's my guy
Oh,
too.
perfect. So you know his track record. You see how good he's been able to do with both, with different fighters on different sides of the streets too. Like he has Adam on PBC, he has Jacobs on DAZN. He advises Dervyanchenko, which is
Oh, okay.
kind of
Yep. Yep.
everywhere.
Yes, he does. Yep.
So, because again, man, you're a hot commodity being a heavyweight. Like, I know COVID hit and things are slightly slowed down, but the heavyweight division brings out the casuals, and I feel like you can be in a really good position. But what do you see for yourself? Do you see maybe the one fight deal, fight by fight with people, or do you see yourself signing to a top rank and getting that ESPN exposure that because Fury's definitely benefiting from doing his rounds on ESPN.
Right. Yeah. Actually, I think my everybody's situation is slightly different. I'm from Las Vegas. I'm two-time Olympian. American heavyweight Olympian. That's from Las Vegas. So my dad fought on Top Rank. They know me. You know what I'm saying? I live right down the street from their office. So I just my thing is I love Top Rank. That I think that's probably one of the best platforms. You know, not I mean arguably out there right now to be to display my skills on. Right now there's a lot of different options on the table. Like I said, I'm letting my advisory board, and we're kind of bouncing off of how we what we want to do. I definitely I'm always I'm self-sufficient. I like to try to be as self-sufficient as I can. So I do like the solo route. I just want to I want to get paid and put some respect on my name. So I wouldn't just enter Top Rank just because they have they have the opportunities out there. I've been fighting right off the from the feet from day one. I've never had any chances, any luck, anything that all my stuff has been really raw. And I know once I get that title, not one of those guys will be able to say that. Everybody gave somebody a chance other than me. You know what I'm saying? They're not even giving me my own platform right now. So, yeah, so I definitely like the solo route, but, we're going to explore our options. I know Top Rank PBC, you can't argue with that Showtime and Fox, so there's a few different little platforms, but I just I like the respect, it ain't even really, the money's gonna come. You know what I'm saying? It's more of a respect thing. My little brother's a fighter. My dad was a fighter. My mom's my mom's dad was in the business. Managed fighters and advised fighters. So it's a family motto right here.
Definitely. We've definitely had your brother on the show. We were really excited for that fight that fell apart with Malik Hawkins, but I don't want
Yeah.
to get off a subject. So I feel like, well, forget what I feel. If Top Rank came to you, what would you want your 3-fight deal with them to be? Because obviously I have in our title the fact that you're saying, which I seen your interview with Boxing Social, you beat Fury in the amateurs. You felt like, he beat you, but you felt like you won, and you felt like the second fight back, which you were scheduled to have, you would have definitely beat him. You felt he knew you beat him up, so he never came back. But the only way to get Fury now is through Top Rank, because that's the only sanctioning body where you're ranked the lowest. You're like number 10. It'll be years before you can actually get a shot at Fury,
Right.
simply because Dillian Whyte's been waiting. He's got to go. Wilder, Fury got to settle their things. Undisputed is out there. Seems like IBF is your quickest route, but a 3-fight deal with Top Rank obviously can fix that, waiting. If you say, yeah, I'll sign with you if I get Fury. So obviously Fury's at the end. Who are the other two that you need before Fury? Or would you want it backwards and say, sign me and let me fight Fury first?
Yeah, I would prefer the Fury fight first. Um, I'm not really. I'm ready. I'm ready now. You know what I'm saying? I've been in the ring with these guys, so uh, it would only excite me to, try to, that they could guarantee me, and start talking about it. Like you said, yeah, they have a lot of people before they would start talking and bringing my name up. The Anthony Joshua fight, who knows how that's going to go? There's going to be a rematch. It might be, 3 fights involved with that one. He still has Deontay involved. And like you said, Dillian Whyte has been, waiting for his thing. So there's a lot of people on the list. Before I feel like they would give me a shot. I don't think they could guarantee me or promise me, a shot or a chance, opportunity like that. But with like you said, with the exposure with Top Rank, that would be right up to par. You know what I'm saying? That would probably be the next best thing if I couldn't get one of those major fights. So um, I, I'm in a very comfortable position. I've been uncomfortable for the last 10 years. You know what I'm saying? So, now I'm comfortable. I would like to have something that's going to strike me. You know what I'm saying? And not necessarily money, but, just the idea of, what's going on. I'm basically the only American heavyweight left. And, with all this, all these other matters that are going on with Black Americans, what's going on, it's like a perfect time for me to, you know, um, speak up and kind of claim what's already I feel like has been mine. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the boxing people know me. Everybody in the industry knows who Michael Hunter is, but it's the fans, you know what I'm saying? That's the situation. So right now, I'm just taking it slow, and yeah, that's it.
So Hunter, what do you say to those that read your quote where it says, I beat Fury, I can beat Fury, and then they say, well, you got to draw with Pavek, and I'll be honest, I definitely thought you did enough to win. I actually went back and watched 6 rounds like 3 days ago, the first 6 rounds. You did have like a little bit of a lull, like maybe after the 3rd or the 4th, he kind of started to get the edge. But I feel in the end you finished out strong as well. I didn't like that you didn't get the win and that you got a draw. But people are like, that's the other internet rumor. Like, well, Matchroom gave him his step up and he couldn't pass it. And I'm like, damn. So you cut a guy who got a draw? Because it's not like you lost.
Right. Well, yeah, it wasn't really necessarily that. It's just that I'm a high risk, low reward type of opponent. My disposition. Um, they had a hard time even getting Povetkin to fight me. They had to do a deal, you know, all sorts of deals, to get them to fight me. Sergey Kuzman didn't want to fight, and what I'm saying, they're all in the same company. So um, it wasn't really necessarily that. None of the guys they started to spin and started to realize that all the problems that I've had with any when I was with PBC, anytime I've had a situation that these people, nobody really wants to fight me, you know what I'm saying? And it's costing money, for them instead of them actually, it's not being feasible. And, I know it's a business, so I'm not mad at it. I just got to do what I got to do. So I really can't speak on the fans. They didn't, cut me because, I did it. They were calling me for crisis control. That's what I was calling myself, crisis and control. They called me to save the show every time. You know what I'm saying? If you look at all the shows, I was the best one on the show and did the best performance on every show. So, and that's why how I even got on DAZN. When I fought Usmanov, I was a short notice. I just got off of a war with Martin Bacoli. I had a broken knuckle, messed up shoulder. So, when I finally get the shot that everybody actually else is getting, like actual normal camp and, the real preparation and the table. Now it's never going to be, tables fair, but when I get my fair shake, it's going to be hard to beat me. You know what I'm saying? So everybody knows that I'm a problem with anybody in the ring right now. I'm going to give anybody a hard go at it. It's going to be hard to get past me. So, and if you look at the consistency, Anthony Joshua may have knocked out Povetkin, but he got knocked out by Andy Ruiz, the person I have no problem with, never had a problem with. You know what I'm saying? So, if you look at my consistency since the amateurs all the way up until now, you'll probably see that I've been one of the most consistent people in the game right now. So, it's only a matter of time. I'm gonna just keep stroking. I've gotten this far, struggling. I feel like, we here now. So, there's no turning back. It's only a matter of time. These guys might retire or quit or, fight somebody else for a minute, which I'm okay with that because I'm really here I'm not really here to compete with nobody else. Really, I'm competing with myself, you know what I'm saying? So that's where I feel like I win at, you know what I'm saying? Because I have no competitors.
So Michael, where are you in your life? Like, let me give you a hypothetical. Are you in a point where whoever you discuss business with, it has to be a title shot in that conversation? Or are you okay with like a Demetrius Salita telling you, hey, let me sign you to a 3-fight deal. I got Espinoza's okay to put you on Showtime. We'll give you Jermaine Franklin, Oda Wawalin, and undefeated Apti Dabatev. You probably don't know him. He's trained by the Crunk, but that's what I mean. Like, not title shots, but 3 consistent show dates. And maybe Top Rank tell you the same thing. Or are you at a point where I need a title shot right now?
With the terrain of the business, I'm not expecting to get no world title shot right now. It may be very possible. So I'm okay with being on showcasing my skills. It really doesn't matter who it's going up against. Like I said, I'm going up against myself. So the titles would, I would, like I said, I always say that I would only be convincing the crowd and the fans that I could beat Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder or anybody else. I would only be trying to convince you guys. So I just need to fight and, let the people see, that, this is a real situation and, I'm here to perform and, I'm here to fight for the fans,
Beautiful, beautiful. Because I can see, especially now, I can see Top Rank giving you like a 3-fight bubble deal. They got plenty of heavyweights that you could showcase with. But we got a few questions from the people I want to get to before we let you go. Earthquake in Brooklyn says, "Salute, champ." Earthquake from Brooklyn here. Thanks for coming on the show. What would you say is the most valuable lesson you've taken from your time being with DAZN? Keep doing your thing. I thought you beat Povetkin. Well, he put Pedvekin.
Yeah, that's funny. Um, yeah, I learned that you just got to stay consistent. The zone, um, they gave me the best opportunity yet. I was having a harder time with PBC and on American soil, just from inactivity, and I was kind of caught up in the middle of, that's when everybody was, they were trying to get those deals, and it was in the quiet moments, and I just left when PBC even got busy. They started to offer fights, and I just had already kind of did that for a few years, and I was ready to look for new changes. So, PBC, man, DAZN has been awesome to me, and I've learned, that I love England. The English fans over there and this the way, even if they're not your fans, they have a certain respect level, and it's like they have a certain tradition of they hold a certain integrity. They like they like people who hold a certain integrity, and I really really respect that. So
Cool, cool. That was Earthquake in Brooklyn. We got Steven Williams in the UK. He says, "What's up, champ? Sad to hear you're no longer with Matchroom. I think you're the most slept on US heavyweight, and I don't understand why. My question is, given their respective styles, who out of Fury, Wilder, or AJ presents the easiest fight for you to win?"
Wilder, I would say Wilder. I've been in the ring with him numerous occasions. Uh, I was the super heavyweight in the Olympics. He was the heavyweight, cruiserweight when we were there. So I was my only sparring partner for a little bit. Um, you know, so I think Wilder would actually be the easiest one, and then from there on, I would say Tyson Fury. Um, um, Not to say that it would. I think it would be. I think I would get to Tyson Fury a lot easier than Anthony Joshua, to be honest. I think I would get to him, um, but you know, it's different when you've already been in the ring with these guys. They know you from a different standpoint, and I know that was a long time ago, but it's not like uh, when you're looking at a man into his eyes, and it's a little different. It's like even like when um, Shane Mosley he fought. He had beat Oscar De La Hoya in the amateurs. He was able to get his number when they turned pro. Not to say that would be like that's our situation, but I feel like uh, I feel a little more comfortable fighting Tyson Fury. Yeah.
No problem. Brandon Maurice says, "No question. Just wanted to welcome you into the club of the most duck fighters in the sport, where you have joined the likes of Bud, Andre, Gary Russell. Shaking my head. It's sad that being a good fighter ain't enough for these clowns, but real ones know what's up, and we're gonna support you. You feel like
Yeah, I
you're
really
being ducked?
appreciate that. Say that
You
again.
do you feel that you're being ducked?"
Oh yeah, 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 absolutely. But I feel like the people he just named, we're all from that same class. We have very similar upbringings as far as in the careers. They've had a little different opportunities. I'm just now getting mine. I'm kind of on the back end on the race, but um, exactly, they all have been thoroughbreds. Um, Bud is, had a hard time in the beginning, and he's always been able to fight, and everybody's known that. Demetrius Andre, he's always been able to fight. They call me and him, we're like brothers in the Olympics. Um, we've always had the same, very similar, very hard to deal with, wiry, type of style, and just always been somebody, even through the amateurs, always been a difficult person to deal with. Very consistent on what they do. And we might have wins or loses, but you never seen somebody say anything. Oh, they've been knocked out, or oh, he had a horrible showing. It's very rare that you see these type of guys that he just mentioned have these type of performances. Even if they might not even, it might be a C+ fighter and he just beat him just a little bit. But those type of guys that we're speaking about, we rise to the occasion on certain when it comes to certain things. You know what I'm saying? We kind of play to our opponent. So I really appreciate that.
All right.
Much respect.
We got George Foster in the UK who says, why do you think Eddie Hearn went with the much older Alexander Povetkin instead of yourself for the Matchroom pay-per-view versus Dillian Whyte?
Because it's business, we tend to not try to speak about business in the boxing, but boxing is mostly business right now. You know what I'm saying? It's all business. You just need to learn how to fight a little bit. You know what I'm saying? It's sad to say that, you know what I'm saying? But, if you're in a certain position and you're in a good position and you could just fight a little bit, then you can make a lot of noise in this business. And, it's just, I think it's an order. Povetkin, been boxing for a while and been with the WBA and has been doing business with the people who do business with Povetkin. Also have other fighters like Kuzman and other fighters that they deal with on a daily basis. I'm the guy that I grab my hat and my bag and I go to work. You know what I'm saying? I'm independent type of artist. You know what I'm saying? I don't really have that much of a support team when it comes to those businesses. They've been dealing with them for quite some time. Matchroom and Eddie, and his dad and stuff like that. They've been in the boxing business, and the guy that Povetkin, manager and stuff. They've been dealing with fighters for quite some time. So that's just what it is. It's just a business thing, and everybody has their own business and their own things to tend to. I think if we all tend to compete with each other, oh, he got the best, now we can compete when we get in the ring, but when it comes to outside thing, like I don't compete with myself with Tyson Fury or Anthony Joshua. I can never be in those positions or even have so even certain things that he's experiencing or he's that he does. I really don't like to comment on him because I haven't been in those positions and I won't be in those positions. I only can compete with myself, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what it is. I kind of stay in my own lane, and that's what it is. I'm right there.
For sure. We got Ryan O'Rourke we have Cisco Promotions. Don't know where he's from, but he says, being that you've shared the ring with Usyk and didn't walk away with the victory, in your honest opinion, do you see him giving any of the top 3 heavyweights trouble? If so, whom?
I see him giving all of them trouble. He's another one. He's very consistent. He's grown. His growth has been consistent. Now I think he's gonna not have an easy time as he did as a cruiserweight, because he comes from a little. When he was in the amateurs, he comes from 165, a middleweight, weight class. When I started boxing, I was a super heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? So I'm used to fighting bigger guys. That's my forte. So I don't think, not to say that he can't, but I just think that he's going to have a harder time with the bigger guys. It's just not something that he's really accustomed to. He's been fighting smaller guys all his life. So, it's just, I think he still will, give some type of problem. I think it'll also be harder to even get fights, those big fights, because he's a paintbrush type of fighter. When you lose, you don't really lose by being in pain, you know what I'm saying, or being knocked out. You get stopped by being tired or something. But and nobody, and not when you're in the heavyweight division, it's like a whole nother weight class. No heavyweight really wants to lose and not being knocked out or kind of go through adversity. Heavyweights, we want to be knocked down and get up and, knock the other guy down. We want to, have some opportunity. When you have somebody like Usyk that's just been, paintbrushing you for 12 rounds, you don't give the heavyweights an opportunity to work on anything to try to fix themselves to come back on the rematch. So, and they know that, you know what I'm saying? So they're not going to, they're like, well, what can I do to come back better? It's not really much because you're, is so big, that's how you are. It's going to be harder to fight somebody like Usyk. So I think it's going to be harder for him to get fights. He's not, when he starts knocking people out in the heavyweights and, making, devastating shots and stuff like that, I think that would actually help him. Maybe if he does that with Chisora, but if he stops him by him gassing and it's like, overwhelming and it's not really like, and he's getting hurt with shots and he's just tired, then I think it's going to be very difficult for Usyk to be in the heavyweight division just as a whole.
All right. Ruin 504 New Orleans says, what promotional companies do you have your eye on?
Like I said, I'm from Vegas, so I like Top Rank. There's a few other ones out there, some England-based ones, that I've been talking to that struck my interest. I like England, the fans. I have a lot of a fan base they support. I feel like if I fought over there a little more, they would gravitate towards me, and then I could kind of squeeze back over here a little bit and come back home. Yeah, right now, man, I'm really just trying to take it slow. I don't really have nobody just yet that I'm really eyeing that I really, really want. Like I said, I've been solo dolo. Even when I was with these people, I've always kind of felt by myself. So I'm kind of okay where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just gonna take it nice and slow.
Next one is from Big Casual. Says, what's up, champ? Hopefully you will be getting a title shot in the near future. Would you like a rematch against Usyk as a heavyweight? I feel like you're more of a natural heavyweight and could upset Usyk.
Yeah. Actually, I would definitely like a rematch at heavyweight. I would just like the rematch, period. No matter what weight. But I just think it's in time. And the people who really ask for it, there might be a few people like yourself asking and kind of curious, but I want it to be, it has to be a fan favorite type of situation. So I think Usyk needs to do a couple things in the heavyweight, and I think I still need to do a couple things in the heavyweight division to make this, profitable situation. I didn't fight a year prior to the Usyk fight. So I think there will be a different outcome and a different situation when we step in there.
All right, we got Mr. Adore that says, what in particular will you be looking for in a promotional company and prior to making a decision on your next landing spot?
Well, I really kind of want somebody that's that kind of terrain on my level. Everybody. I think some promoters, they get caught up in in competing themselves. You know what I'm saying? I think I want somebody to kind of really recognize my lane, where it's at, and the opportunities that I have. Not to compete against anybody. I know we're trying to get, everybody's trying to get to the same goals as far as the titles is concerned. But, then there's to try to get beyond the belts, So I think right now I have a platform to create and my name is out there to create a little buzz where I don't have to fight the world title holders. You know, I could fight whoever and showcase my skills and continue to be me. You know what I'm saying? And whenever that time comes for those opportunities to unfold itself, I'm gonna be ready. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of want somebody that's what I'm really looking for. The exposure is really cool and I like it, but I've been in this situation for quite some time now. So I'm now getting exposure in the boxing community, and I would like to have other exposure, but I really feel like I could get it elsewhere. In the people. I'm more about fighting for the people, not competing with all this industry and combative company stuff. You know what I'm saying? I really like. I just rather fight and speak and say my truths and let that be that. And then whenever the fight time comes, then that's when I show you what's up.
For sure. We got Carlito in the UK that says, "What's good, champ? You fought and sparred Fury before, I believe. From what you recall, does he hit hard?"
I never sparred Fury. I fought him. When you somebody that's 6'9", 200, and I don't know how many pounds, you have and it's not like a Deontay Wilder. Deontay doesn't really have the
Hey,
fluidity
Mike,
when it comes to the mechanics.
let me dial you right back. The call got a little bit choppy, so we could reconnect and get a stronger connection. It's getting a little pixelated there. You there? Just got to click the camera, but you already sound better.
Yep, I got you.
It was a little pixelated earlier. There you go.
There we go.
So the question was, from what you recall, does Fury hit hard? You said when you weigh 275 pounds, you're 6'9".
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna hit hard, and I was talking about the fluidity, and he's not. I was comparing mechanics like Deontay Wilder. Even though Deontay's tenacious and he's strong, he doesn't have that fluidity and the mechanics totally like Tyson Fury. So when you have that fluidity and you're that big, you're gonna hit hard. You know what I'm saying? So it's just that means he has good timing. He can fight. And he definitely he's heavy-handed by nature. You know what I'm saying? He's 6'9", so but now when I have to compare him somebody like a Vladimir Klitschko that I've been in the ring with plenty of times, or a Vitaly Klitschko, different type of power. He's just naturally heavy-handed and through the accumulations of punches would be hard to deal with because they're constantly being heavy. You know what I'm saying? Vladimir actually focused on power. He was, he turned and all his stuff was, his forte was power. So I think, he definitely hits hard.
All right. We have Trey who says, who do you got between Povetkin versus Whyte, and have you been to Eddie's backyard?
Nah, I've never been to Eddie's backyard. Maybe I'll try to show up over there in one of them fights with a COVID mask on or something. See if he recognized me. What was the other question?
Who do you have, Whyte or Povetkin?
Oh yeah, that's right. I think Povetkin's gonna edge it just a little bit. It's very hard to say because they're gonna be kind of on even playing fields when it comes to the testing and all that stuff, and when A side, B side type of thing. They're kind of gonna be kind of even. They all have their little ups and downs when it comes to that part, but they're gonna be pretty much even when it comes to that. So I think, as far as fighting, Povetkin's going to come out on top. He has much more experience. He has a bigger heart. he's stronger. I feel like he's stronger.
Whoa,
He's
whoa,
more
whoa,
durable.
whoa. What you mean a bigger heart? What do you mean?
I just feel like I put him to the test, and I put him through the ringer, and I seen he had a decent heart. I'm still questioning when it comes to Dillian. Um, uh, I know his gas tank is not always is questionable, but it's different when you say gas tank and heart. Will you continue to even if you're tired? Uh, I'm not sure of. So I think Povetkin is going to test it though.
All right, let me see. We got Sony in Cincinnati that says, "Peace, champ." Sony from Cincy. I look with confusion when I think about your situation with DAZN, but then I remembered of baseball. Then I remembered of a baseball story. A baseball fan would know. Mookie Betts, who played for the Boston Red Sox, without question, one of the best baseball players in the game, was traded away this season and shocked everyone. He was traded because his salary was too big for the club to handle. To contrast DAZN and their highly questionable contracts in Canelo and Triple G with COVID-19 tightening promoters' wallets, I say this to say any real boxing fans knows you're a force in the heavyweight division, so forget the politics and the penny pushers. Hashtag stay great, champ.
I appreciate that, man. That's all love. What was that dude's name? The baseball player?
Mookie Betts.
Yeah, Mookie Betts. Yep. Yeah.
We got King Amin in Essex who says, "Peace, champ. Boxing is a funny sport. Behind the scenes, as you know, better than I do. Has this recent experience made you approach your career decisions more aggressively since you seem to be one of the, and I quote, good guys that could end up getting held back by the politics of the sport?"
Wait, what was actually the question though?
If you would,
Because I had a lot
if
to
this
say about
situation, if this situation is going to make you a little bit more aggressive in your negotiation and stuff, or in your business, because obviously you're going down as one of the good guys, and that could keep you back, obviously because of politics.
Absolutely. Actually, I've been kind of a very aggressive. I think that's kind of where I might have messed up at as far as being. I feel like I'm behind in the race when it comes, in a sense. But when you say aggressive, I think, I guess it's this position is allowing me to be more aggressive or be a little more prompt. But it's always been strategic. It's always been strategic. And I'm having a hard time having a platform to fight on, as you can see. Not one of these companies that I've been on, I really wanted to leave. It wasn't my choice. But that's just how it kind of goes. The good guy, always has to work the hardest. When we're not in the best area. So I just think eventually my name is gonna ring. You know what I'm saying? I've been staying focused and really diligent about, boxing, and not only boxing, but just how it works, as far as the business and, what to do in it. And also, like I was saying before, is trying not to compete with others. You know what I'm saying? I think that's also another thing that is going to make me successful and in my own right, is that, I've kind of killed my ego when it comes to, the industry, and being so bitter about so many things that are wrong. You know what I'm saying? Is like, I mean, come on now, we see tons of cheating all day long, and we still put these people in Hall of Fames, and, still let them keep their records. And, so we don't really know what's good or bad around here. You know what I'm saying? I just moving as best as I can.
All right, so we skipped this one by accident. Ryan O'Rourke says, "Was there any discussions with Eddie beforehand about fighting behind closed doors, and you said no? Or do you believe it was solely, being particular on what they spend their funds on, as it seems strange to let a guy who is unbeaten in the heavyweight division, who is unbeaten at heavyweight when the division is booming. Do you see yourself fighting Usyk again? I guess you already answered Usyk, but were there any discussions about possibly fighting behind closed doors that you said no to, and that's why they cut you?
No. It was it was none of that. It's, you have to understand that, they got the biggest deal. They got that $1 billion deal for the year, whatever, to, promote and throw shows. And, out of the three big major companies, I consider them the adolescents. They're the young, the young company, the younger company. They're doing things that are a little more immature, or they're taking more risk, taking more chances, which is, and since they play on such a big level, which is, it's kind of good and bad, I guess, for the other guys. And I think it's opened up a lot of opportunities for fighters like myself that couldn't get, that didn't get any chances, that wasn't getting opportunities. So I really, there was no really conversations about, me fighting. I just think, the whole, they got the $1 billion, then they were spending and spending. They were spending more money than the rest of them also. And then they lost their belts, which almost, messed up their whole situation. And then they had to find some way to try to get their belts back, and, that was another, risk taker. So they had to spend a lot of money doing all these ups and downs and ebbs and flows. And then the whole COVID thing happened. So, and the whole time, me being in their company, I was never totally embraced, respected, and that's all I ever asked for. So I was never totally embraced, and I was always being used as, a card filler or a card to save the card. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it was feasible at this point. It was either they either had to totally embrace me or kick me out, because I've gotten to a certain point, my own status and in their company, to where it would be detrimental. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't totally, if I would have continued to be like that and not be fully embraced, then they would have somebody that would basically have titles that they really didn't control. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's what it really comes down about, that I'm a hard person to control. All I want is fairness. You know what I'm saying? And when I see something, I won't bend or fold to not fairness. And I think that that's where we'll come to a disagreement or agreement at, and that's where we'll stand. So I think they just had a lot of big things happen to them, and they had to start cutting budgets, and they had to spend money to keep me fighting, especially for the next couple of fights. They would have had to, maybe pay another person, maybe one or two, and then I might have been profitable to them. But I think they really started to see that how much money that they had to start coming out, and how hard it was to actually get me fights. They had to pretty much beg Povetkin and make me, call them out and, say all these different things. And, I'm saying, to try to make the fights happen, what I'm saying? So, I'm just in that position where I'm a high risk, low reward, and it's to nobody to blame, but I just gotta, stay diligent to the craft.
For sure. Only a few more, champ. We got Steve in Chicago that says, thanks for coming on the show, champ. Why do you believe Eddie didn't give you a shot at AJ when he made the Ruiz fight?
Kind of like I just said, I was when they made the Ruiz fight, I was the first in line. They had a bet. I was in England. I didn't even know they do this, that who would get the fight. It was about 5 people on the bet, and I was a 7-1 favorite to get the fight. Nobody else was even close to that. I think the next one was like 4-1. So, I was I was supposed to get that fight. They called me. I knew that they never really made me an offer. But our conversations was when it ended, they knew that I would take the fight at any price. So I already had my hand out. I was like the last guy on the basketball court to get picked. You know what I'm saying? With me, and they you come on, So but in boxing, when it comes like that, it's just it's a little different because I'm constantly moving up. They got to fight me at some point, so it's kind of benefiting me as well. Not to get picked in that sense as well. So I just think so they picked around me and they chose and they held me as basically they hold me as okay, that's somebody we know that will take the fight and that will save the show. Crisis control. And when they found somebody that picked their hand up right at the last minute, Andy Ruiz on Twitter. He's not as good as me, I guess, or they seen something that they thought that they were gonna exploit. And and also, the Mexican fans, they're there. They had a little better situation. I don't agree with them. I think that they did the right thing when it comes to their company. I think at that time, obviously I wanted it to be me more than anything. But, I think to be honest, even though they lost their belts, they ended up getting it. I don't think they would have got their belts back with me. I think it would have been a little bit harder. Even though I was with DAZN, I think they would have been able to get me by doing a deal now. You know what I'm saying? Doing a different type of deal. But, like I said, I was never fully embraced by that. But I was totally respected, and that was more than I could ever ask for because I hadn't really had that up until that point. So kudos to DAZN.
All right. We got George in Dallas, Fort Worth, who says, "What's up, Hunter? Excuse me. What's up, Mr. Hunter? Would you consider fighting Charles Martin?" Don't y'all train together?
I mean, yeah, yeah, we were in the camp. I don't really like train with him, but yeah, we I mean, that's like my guy, it's my boy. He been knowing me, my little brother. He been knowing me for a long time. He's seen me on my own path. He knows my story. I know his story. So, I'm not. I will fight any friend. I mean, I'm saying I'm not against fighting friends. Especially when we're making big money together. Actually, that reminds me of a Mike Tyson quote. He was saying something about that. If you're my friend, then you should fight me. You shouldn't. I need money. Then then you should fight me. So I have that same approach. If somebody needed really something and I couldn't give it to them, but I could give them a fight. I'm willing to do that. So definitely we could fight. I don't see it happening, but yeah.
But you don't see it happening because he ain't gonna want to fight you, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I just don't see it happening. I don't see it working out. But it might be. He's we could fight for Mandos. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it looked like an IBF mandatory is possible. But have y'all sparred?
Yeah, I've sparred with him on tons of occasions.
That's what it is. So you saying he knows what it is already?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let me see. I think we got a few more. Looking like Stonebone Boxing in Colorado, who says, "Peace, champ. So your brother's name is ringing bells right now. When do you think he'll be ready for a title shot? And who's the better fighter of the you two? Laugh out loud. Just joking. Peace, champ."
Well, one, I think we have different little styles. I was I kind of got him into boxing. He didn't want to box at one point, and he actually just reminded me this not too long ago that I was working. I had my first job. I was working at KFC, and I was struggling. I was boxing myself, and I was trying to tell my brother, I was like, look, we're good at this. My dad always pushed us away from boxing, so we played basketball, we played football, we played all other sports, and we grew up in the boxing gym, so fighting was in our nature. But we never really, I didn't know there was actually an amateur boxing until I started to get a little older. I didn't know. I knew that you could box, but I didn't know that you could actually box. I don't know. I just didn't think that I could do it right now. So, growing up, I was, boxing. When I started first boxing, I was um, working at KFC, and I bought my brother my first his first license. I got up some money, and he didn't even want it. He didn't. I bought him a boxing license. I said, look, I made him come to the gym, and he went there for a week, and he stopped going. And I think I just kept going. I think I made him feel bad, and then eventually got back in the gym, and he seen that it was in his nature. You know what I'm saying? Is he wanted to do a lot of, he can make stuff. He's in the, putting, making cars and putting things together. So he had other opportunities to do other things, but I was trying to let him know that it's in the blood, and it's something that you really you're gonna have to work a lot less harder at to get where you're at. You're already steps above people. So I think that it's really good that his name is ringing. He's been fighting for a long time, making his own little moves. And I think he's really, I really feel like if he had two more decent little fights consecutive, I think our hardest part is staying consecutive. We have to, we've been doing all our fights mostly in the gym, you know what I'm saying? In the wars in the gym, we can't really get no real fights out there. So I think that it's cool that his name is ringing, and he got a little beef with, Malik and stuff like that. That's a little ringing. That's a fight that could be made. Showtime seemed to be interested in it. He's a fighter that he's going to give anybody problems. Like he's a 6 foot, and he's very strong too. He's not one of those, some people that are that tall, they can be real frail, but he's more like a Tommy Hearns, real durable type of person, real strong, got a good boxing eye, good boxing IQ. I think if he had two consecutive tune-up fights, or decent little fights, that he could fight for a world title, and he could fight anybody at 135, 140, or 147. He hasn't fought at 135, but I feel like he can make 135.
All right. Looks like Israel Rubber from Oklahoma says, thanks for coming on the Boxing Voice. When next in Oklahoma, lunch on me, champ. So just showing you some love.
I'll keep you to that.
And then we got Idris in the UK who says, Bellew moved down to cruiserweight for Usyk. Given the opportunity and the weak champions at cruiserweight, could you still make the weight at that division?
Yeah. I'm not obliged to not. Fighting down. I wanted to. I'll fight up, fight down. You know what I'm saying? I can make the weight. If there was a guy that was there that was exciting enough, and I would go down there. I'm not really about. I'm trying to, anybody that's around me that thinks that they can beat me. I'm a chess player, you know what I'm saying? I went all around the world to play chess, you know what I'm saying? I feel like that's what I've done as far as going to Vladimir Klitschko camp, going to that's what my mindset is like that, you know what I'm saying? I've tried to checkmate everybody that I've gotten in the ring with, and it's been very few people that's got out of that, So I'm willing. I want to fight. I wanted to fight Gassiev, I'm willing to fight any and everybody. If it makes sense and they can get me excited about it, let's make it happen. Because really, I like to test my skills. You know what I'm saying? I'm a real thoroughbred when it comes to this situation. I have a different passion when it comes to the art. Actually, I really respect the art, and I enjoy it. So it's really cool to see other fighters too. Different fighters and different styles and stuff like that. I even compare myself to, when they say pound for pound, if I shrunk myself into a smaller, body, how would I compete with these guys? So, and then my man had asked me who was better, or me or Keith. I would have to say, if I was his weight, I'd probably move a little bit better than him, but I feel like he would be stronger than me.
Okay, so Mr. Hunter, those are all the questions, but I do want to ask, like, Do you think PBC can realistically give you a 3-fight deal? Like, would Luis Ortiz say yes? Would Andy Ruiz say yes? Would Dominic Brazil say yes? Or do you have to go to PBC and sign and not know that these guys will fight you?
Yeah, I think that's what I would have to do. I think they would try to promise me these things, but I don't think they really could guarantee them. Maybe one, they might could slip one in, but I think it would be very hard. I think like they had guaranteed Adam Kalnaki the Deontay Wilder fight, and that never, we never got to see that. So yeah, with them, I guess it would probably, it depends on the situation.
Well, I don't want to
Depends on
keep
the
you any
situation.
longer, man, but we do appreciate you taking out the time. We hope to hear some news about you here soon, and hopefully it's some good stuff, man, and hopefully whoever gets you on their network can guarantee you these fights, man, because there are a lot of names that you can mix it up in the interim while, Dillian Whyte, Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder,
Yeah.
and Tyson Fury settle their issues. I would love a Dominic Brazil, even Robert Helenius off of his big win over Adam Kovnacki. Adam Kovnacki, if he wants it, I know he
Yeah.
probably wouldn't because he's coming off a loss, but like Areola, Kovnacki. I mean, if we're talking PBC, Robert Helenius.
I would like if I could do that, I would consider that because it really doesn't matter who they can get me. It wouldn't excite me as long as they could promise me that they would get me a fight. I would feel like I would try to make their I would want to be fighting consistently. So I would, and I guess some part of the contract I would make it that, I would have to fight, X amount of months after my next fight, make it short term, I guess.
How recent
or very consecutive.
How soon do you want to be in the ring? Hypothetically, you sign with someone and they say, PBC says, we'll give you Robert Helenius. We'll get you him. He's not really a PBC guy. So we'll get you Helenius. And you say, okay, but I want to be back 90, 120, 6 months later? What is, ideal for you?
Yeah, well, as long as I have no injuries and I have, fighting is a very hard sport to not do that in, but I would want to be back in the next 3 months, 4 months. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I feel like right now is, I'm on my peak. I'm not going to be fighting for too much longer. So I'm like the can man, you know what I'm saying? I'm like the can man right now. Anybody can get it, So I like actually when you speak about that, I would have to, they would just have to promise me. I would have to have some guarantees that I would be fighting, a certain amount of times, as long as I don't get injured.
Look, I
I would
know
have to say, yeah.
in theory, it sounds like PBC's the right spot because they got the names and they're not like belt holders, so those names they should be negotiable. But I don't know, man. Top Rank might be the best thing. Like you said, you're from Vegas, they're from Vegas, and it'll be a lot of showcasing right now. Like what they got, Rydell Booker, Big Baby Miller, if he doesn't get too long of a suspension. Then they have the really young Big
Right.
Baby from Ohio. He's not ready for you. Sonny Kanto's not ready for. So it's like Bagdon Dinu, Kurbret Pulev, Rydell Booker, Carlos Takam. Maybe they got an option on Jerry Ford if he beats Takam. But yeah, I feel like you could get showcased there more, and at least you got Joe Tessitore, Tim Bradley saying, oh, well, here's this undefeated American heavyweight. Maybe he's going to fight Tyson Fury, because they, in my mind, all right, they need an American. Like, after Fury is done with the WBC and Wilder, and let's say AJ fight can't happen the first time they sit down, like, they don't like the deal. Ideally, that's what they had Big Baby Miller for, to be the other American for Tyson, in my opinion. I mean, you can fill those shoes.
Right.
I don't know. You definitely got to get on the phone, man. See who's pitching you the best offer. But we do appreciate you talking some boxing with us, and we really hope to get you back on soon. And I say Top Rank obviously because they got the bubble popping, man. They're doing fights every Tuesday and Thursday, and sometimes Saturday.
Right.
So
they haven't missed a beat.
It's some heavyweight.
I'm about
name,
to put you on the advisory board.
Yeah, man, get me on. It's a heavyweight by the name of like something Beth that. He's food to everyone, but he's gotten 2 fights consistently already, and now he's scheduled to come back. So it's like people are fighting on Top Rank. PBC hasn't even done a card yet, and DAZN is waiting for.
I haven't even heard anything.
Well, yeah, they got something scheduled with Jamal James. They rescheduled their Jamal James versus. Ooh, it's slipping my mind. It was a welterweight fight, Jamal versus someone. It was a decent. Not that great. I don't know. I'll Google it. But yeah, man, I want to thank you anyway. You spent more than enough time with us, man, and we would love to have you back and wish you the best luck, all right?
Yeah, likewise.
All right, Michael. Well, you have a good day and go ahead and enjoy the rest of it.
I appreciate it, man. I enjoy being on the podcast, man.
Thank you. If you have any social media, obviously what you do, you can give it out for anybody who hasn't been following you and crazy enough not to can do so now.
Bounty Hunter 2 and on Twitter, and Michael Bounty Hunter on Instagram.
All right, well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Michael Hunter, the Bounty Hunter, the heavyweight, hot commodity, man. Really baffling that you would let such a commodity go. But we're going to get and open up these phone lines and keep things nice and airtight, man. We're running a tight ship today. I want to thank everybody that's rocking out with us, getting these interviews done. I don't know, man. I might do another one at 4 o'clock with Bob Arum.
Remember to rate us 5 stars on iTunes.
These calls are brought to you by El Camino Electrical Services, experts in electric vehicle charging stations. For consultations and turnkey installation, visit us at elcaminoelectricalservices.com.
Champ. Oh, all right. He ghosted out me. I was about to, oh, no, he's back. What up, Champ? You hit me up? You breaking up, Champ? You breaking up?
Oh, no. I thought you...
And he dropped off again. That's that Vegas internet breaking up. See, this is what we need a producer for. All right, but let me get out to these phone lines. And, yeah, let's do it. I mean, whoever's just listening, let me know. I know a few people just still at work. And, oh, he said he pocket dialed. All right. Let's go to Izzy, Oklahoma. What up?
Hey, you coming to me first time, twice for the first time ever. Hey, man, I appreciate a good interview. I was in and out of work calls, so I didn't get it all, but I've always liked him. I like watching him fight. And I didn't even hear my question. I'll have to go back and listen. But anyway, that's my call, Ness.
All right, champ. Oklahoma, stand up. Tulsa, you guys got a fight coming up. Do not forget. I don't know if you're allowed to get up in there, but you definitely, got a fight coming up. All right, just sending Michael the link in case he wanted. We're going out to, up-and-coming contender, soon to be in a mandatory eliminator position.
Just like the king is what I mean. The king is what I mean.
Yo, y'all heard? Oh man, that was a great interview, man.
Thank you, brother.
Listen, Michael Hunter, he got a deep backstory. I didn't, want him to get into all of that, but when you hear him talk, right? First of all, to me, it sounded like he basically said, AJ fucked up the church's money with that loss, because when he was like, yo, it was money on the table, but then they had to pay, to try to get the belts back. So they overpaid with that clash of the Dunes, and then just a casualty of the business, man. And I'm hoping, praying, and I know a warrior like him's going to bounce back on his feet. Listen, I can tell you from personal experience, you need a good promotional company, man. You need somebody thinking for you and working for you when all you want to do is train and be the most superior athlete you can be. So, Michael Hunter, shout out to you, my brother. Keep going. And listen, shout out to ECP. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get somebody to clip that interview for me, man. That's part of the resume there. That's like a on-air recommendation. You know, he said he wanted to put me on his advisory board because just off conversation, he realized the skill that I possess. And it's an eye not only for talent, but an eye for that yellow brick road. And why do I choose it to be yellow bricked? Because we all know in The Wizard of Oz, that road was made of gold. And if you follow my road, there would only be gold. There would only be gold in awards, man. I would love to see Hunter get something on paper with Al, do Hellenius, Adam, Martin in the Eliminator. You know, those 3 fights in that order. Or Adam, Brazil. Let's say Brazil. Give Adam a chance to get a win without the loss, you know. Brazil. Even Negron. Showcase him with Negron. Then Brazil. Then Adam. By then we could get you the Eliminator with Martin. Something like that. There's a lot of people there. See, he's going to get more exposure and publicity on ESPN, but he won't have the sexy names to fight. See, he stays over there with PBC. He's going to have a mix and match of at least a 5 good names. We haven't even mentioned Luis Ortiz. Imagine he's like, give me Ortiz, Brazil, Adam. Ortiz, Brazil, Charles Martin. His resume goes through the roof with that. That's right. Joe Washington. We forgot about Washington. That's another, there's names that he could go. Like, he could go the top rank route, get the easy fights and get the good publicity and then have a shot possibly versus Tyson. So I get him going that route. You know, he can even go the Dimitri Salita route straight to Showtime, I believe, and do like Ottawa Wild and Jermaine Franklin and Abdi Dabatev, who's a crunk gym heavyweight, trained by Sugar Hill. So, he's got a lot of routes, but he's definitely got to put those callers out there. I hate when I talk to guys and they're like, nah, we just waiting, and I get it, but they want to wait to see what they're worth, right? Like they think, oh, they know I'm free. Bob should call me. I'm right up the street. You heard him, and it don't work that way. Call Bob. Tell him you stopping by. Sit down. Tell them what was on your mind, what you trying to do. Find out how much they got per fight during COVID. Say, cool, I'll fight Rodell Booker. I'll fight Victor Bisbal. I'll fight Ibeth, Hector Perez. I'll fight Real Big Baby, Jared Anderson. If that's all you got, but I need XYZ. I need to be pushed. I need guaranteed spots on SportsCenter, Max Boxing. I need guaranteed spots on, I don't know, whatever, Stephen A. Smith podcast, something. You got to work your deal. Put me, give me a guaranteed spot on Max Boxing, a guaranteed spot on SportsCenter, and a guaranteed spot on First Take. Then I also want a guaranteed sit down like Bud Crawford had with Andre Ward. Whatever Andre Ward called that, what he called it, I don't remember. He called it something. He sat down with Bud. Give me that too. You know what I mean? You need that push. Fury got that push big time in Vegas from Top Rank. But let me go out to New Orleans. What it do?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce to you a young fella, and he comes from the Magnolia.
Ooh, what's good? Ness, I'm in the truck, bro. My audio sound.
Sounding right now, champ. Real right.
I ain't gonna be too much longer because, I do 75 in the Amaland, bro. I'll be on the move, so let me get this on. Shout out to Michael Hunter. I just became, I already was a fan, but I just became more of a fan when I hit a passion and a drive in you. You know what I'm saying, bro? Keep doing what you're doing. Like Ness said, get the right representation that'll push you into the right situations. And man, I think one day you're gonna be a champ, bro. Just keep doing your thing, man. And no out, you hear me?
For sure. All right, ladies and gents. Well, that is all our callers now. I think more than likely we'll be back at 4 p.m. I'm waiting on the email confirmation. I obviously told Bob I'm good for 1 o'clock. I got to get confirmation. Took me a day to respond, obviously. They West Coast, I'm East Coast. I came in a little bit late. That being said, if he confirms, you will see the scheduled show. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel right here at youtube.com/The Boxing Voice. Help us continue to grow. Obviously, our growth ensures fantastic interviews. So we need you to subscribe and tell a friend to subscribe so that we can get to that 200K and make getting these interviews even more possible. But we're at 114,886. So very close to 115,000. We need about a couple hundred and something people to just join the club. And don't forget, we're going to be unveiling our new Patreon-only show at 7 p.m. Wednesday. 7 p.m. Wednesday. On patreon.com/The Boxing Voice. It is going to be a relationship advice show with the very beautiful, sexy sexpert Yanni. So if you're interested, we have like a 90% male demographic. If you need a little bit of advice, on how to get things going the right way, whether that be you constantly debating and arguing with the old lady or just spicing things up, hit us up Wednesday, 7 p.m. Check out our latest co-host for the Sexpert Show. And yeah, man, don't forget on Patreon, you get Untitled, you get film studies, you get all types of stuff. Plus, you can ask every one of your favorite fighters and or industry insiders, promoters, all that good stuff a question. Now, we are working. We should be getting not only the trainer of Rashidi Ellis, but Rashidi Ellis as well. I'm working on that on two different angles, right? I got the trainer already, and I also got Golden Boy getting me Ellis and Ortiz. So stick around, subscribe, and continue to get unfiltered boxing talk and fantastic interviews without a doubt. And that's GTO, Instagram and Twitter. Catch me on the next one. Hit the subscribe button if you want to be notified. Deuce A.